Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel. We have to talk about what is going on when it comes to school teachers all around the United States. I don't know if you know about this, but there has been a mass exodus. A lot of teachers are quitting. Look what it says, 300,000 teachers quit last year, and it continues to grow. And some people kind of can understand why. Other people are confused. What is going on here? There's a lot of factors into it. And I can tell you this, without teachers, society is going to crumble. Society is going to crumble because a country that doesn't have education and doesn't have knowledge, you're going to produce a lot of people who don't know what they're doing. They're not going to know things. They don't even know how to read an analog clock a lot. I mean, it's getting serious. It's already serious, and the lack of cursive and all of that. So I want to share with you some video clips of teachers explaining why they're leaving, okay? And I already can imagine the pay. Look, when I was younger, I had a substitute teacher who told me he couldn't even afford peanut butter crackers to eat for lunch. That's how broke he was. I felt so sad because he was elderly and all he could afford was peanut butter crackers. And that was over a decade ago. So, I mean, look. And like I'm seeing more of these students fighting teachers, breaking teachers' legs and stuff. The parents not coming to the PTA meetings and not being involved. A lot of teachers have had it up to here. Lack of pay. It's disgraceful how much teachers get paid. Lack of pay, lack of support, bad kids. You can't discipline them. They're not your children. Getting hit by the kids, having to pass kids off who can't even read because you have to fill these quotas and all of that. So it's a lot of factors that go into it. So let me be quiet and let's see what these teachers are saying about all of this, what is going on, because baby, it's going to get worse. And I'm scared of where America is headed. I definitely am.
Teachers are leaving the profession because of the toxic relationship they have with administrators. The kind of relationship where your friends are like, just leave. And you're like, I can't. We have kids. The administrators convince you to do more and more, coach and mentor and chaperone dances to the point where you're never home. But then you secretly start to like it. You get this like stock never home syndrome where you start defending your captors. You know, like your therapist will be like, this job is ruining you. And you're like, you don't know him like I know him. He's under a lot of pressure at state testing. Like, yeah, doesn't he forget your birthday every year? Okay, but he surprises me with pop-up observations, usually the Friday right before a break in the afternoon. And some Fridays, I get to wear jeans if I pay $5. Okay, maybe I'm not thriving, I'm coping.
This right here is the moment that we're going to look back in history and realize this is when the empire started to fall. And y'all want to know what it looks like? It's when students don't want to learn and when the teachers don't want to teach. Y'all, over 1,000 teachers have resigned in the state of Arizona in the past 4 months. And you know what they're trying to do? They're trying to bribe them with $10,000 to come back and teach the students. And they're saying, hell no.
How does a $10,000 raise sound? That's exactly what State Schools Chief Tom Horn said is needed to stop the mass exodus of teachers in Arizona's public schools.
It is a crisis because we're losing more teachers than are coming into the profession. So that's a real crisis.
State Schools Chief Tom Horn's office released a study this week. It showed more than 1,000 public school teachers have quit since July 1st, about the same number from district and charter schools, and nearly 300 quit after the school year started. But that's not all.
We have 4,000 vacancies being filled by long-term substitutes, which is not a good idea because they're not properly trained. We have 1,400 positions that haven't been filled at all.
Horn said teachers are leaving because of bad pay and a lack of discipline for students.
Matt Gress, who's a Republican legislator, my legislator from my district, had a bill to give everyone a $10,000 raise. That would have put us in the top 10 for starting salaries and would have solved a lot of problems. Unfortunately, it didn't pass.
At first, it started with the historians leaving America. Y'all remember that? I told y'all, right? When you realize that education is one of the backbones, is one of the foundations of America, because they got to continue to manipulate and instill the lies within our children in order to keep this sick, this, I don't know, this fake gimmick that they got going on, then you know this is a big hit to America, and this is going too far. And this is all spiritual too, because the age of Aquarius is about knowing thyself, man. And these teachers are lying to these children. But yeah, y'all, let me know what you guys think about this video. And it's not just Arizona too, y'all. It's gonna be all over the world. The shift is here. Let's continue to get it. Peace in.
Do you want to know why teachers are quitting? Because it's not pay, even though that's pretty abysmal, and it's not the students. Teachers are quitting because of leadership. They're quitting because of how districts, how school boards, how private school boards are treating them. They're quitting because they're not treated like professionals. They're not respected. So if we want to make a change in education, it's not even coming for pay first. The first thing we need to come for is making sure that students and parents and admin respect teachers the way they deserve.
300,000 teachers quit last year. I got their anonymous confessions. What they revealed will shock you. Here's the teacher confessions. I spend 6 hours on paperwork and 2 hours actually teaching. I'm not allowed to fail students who haven't learned anything. The curriculum is designed by people who have never actually taught. I'd homeschool my own kids if I could afford to quit. We were babysitters with degrees, not educators. Parents know their kids better than I ever will. The system isn't broken, but speaking up means losing my job. Even the people inside the system know it's failing your children. Comment broken if you've heard teachers complain about the system that they work in.
I used to be a high school teacher. Here's the single biggest reason why I decided that I couldn't be a teacher anymore. There is no accountability in schools. There's no accountability for students. There's no accountability for teachers. And there's no accountability for parents. Students can pretty much do whatever they want. They got the freedom to be late to class every single day. They can roam around the hallways every single day and not go to class. They cannot do their assignments. They can be disruptive. And there's no repercussions. There's no accountability. And the worst part is it's not really even the student's fault. You can't really blame them because the system is not holding them accountable. Now, there are some schools that have great administration and they're trying super hard and they're doing many things to improve the system and to make it better. But most schools, there's no accountability going on. I think you would be shocked if you were to go into school and see what was happening. And if you try to talk to parents, there's a very select few that actually help with it. But the vast majority, they either don't know what to do or they're just completely helpless and they enable it. And there's so many bad teachers that shouldn't be teaching, but there's nobody that's holding them accountable or doing anything about it. And this is coming from a teacher that had great classroom management. Yes, I had some disruptive kids that were hard to keep them focused, and that's normal. But the vast majority of the issues that I experienced was because there's no accountability. There's nothing you can do. You can try to hold students accountable, and they're shocked by it because they're not used to it. That's just one of the reasons why I left. If you have any other questions or want to know anything else, please let me know, and I'm happy to answer.
Okay, so this year I've decided that I'm not going to go back and teach anymore. And it's not because of the kids at all. I love what I do. I love teaching, and it's my passion. I love the kids so much. It's all the little things that have driven me away. It's not always the parents, but sometimes some of the parents are difficult. It is the non-support. When we have difficult children, we don't have a lot of support from the above admin that doesn't give support to our admin at school, then they can't give support to us, which makes it very difficult for us to then turn around and teach all of our 21 or 20 children when we have a very difficult child. The system is just broken, and I want to leave loving what I did for 28 years with being a happy teacher instead of staying for 2 or 3 more years or 5 and being a jaded teacher and hating what I did. So I'm going to leave. So if you've ever felt this way, I'd love for you to follow along. This is going to be my journey for the next several months, maybe year. I'm not sure how bumpy this is going to get, but it's going to be pretty bumpy, I think. I'm going to have to change my resume. I haven't written a resume in 19 years. And there's going to be a lot of new different things that I'm going to have to do. So if you want to follow along, and we can all learn together, and it'll be a great trip. So follow along, and we can all do this together.
Teachers are quitting mid-year again, at record numbers. Here's one of the reasons why. A student who wasn't assigned to me or my classroom was let into my room by another adult, a teacher's aide, and repeatedly ignored my direction and instructions to leave. Eventually, she repeatedly called me a and threatened me with physical violence, which sent me into a panic attack. I called the office for support, and as soon as the dean of students showed up to my classroom, I left and I went to the stairwell to go cry and have a panic attack. Once I calmed down, which took my entire lunch, I was expected to go back and teach my classes because we had a sub shortage and nobody could cover my classes for the rest of the day. By the end of the day, the videos that the student took of me circulated amongst the student body, and I ended that day sitting at my desk feeling the most powerless and defeated that I've ever felt in my entire life. The student was not given a consequence that was fitting. She was sent home for the day. That was it. I received no apology, no restorative circle from the student or the adult who let them into my classroom, and the paraprofessional received no disciplinary actions. He stood in my classroom and allowed his student to speak to me in a degrading, violent, and disrespectful manner. After that class period was over, I had several students come up to me and say that they wanted to jump to my defense, but they were also afraid of that student and afraid of for their own safety. That's when I knew the profession I once loved was no longer the profession I needed or wanted, and I left a month later. And that story is not unique. Teachers aren't leaving because they don't care about the kids. They're leaving because the system no longer lets them teach kids. They're not allowed to teach self-management. They're not allowed to teach respect or accountability anymore. We are told to keep the peace, keep the bodies in the room. Some are even told to pass at 20%. Just get the kid the diploma. Pass them along so that the data looks good. But when we do that, we're not protecting the students. We're doing them a disservice because they are walking into a world that will hold them accountable. We could have taught them how to handle that with grace, empathy, and reflection, but instead we're told to look the other way. Teachers quitting mid-year every single year is not an exodus. It's self-preservation. And deep down, it's heartbreak because they want to stay. The system is just making it so that staying is at the expense of yourself and your own family.
Call me crazy, but I no longer want the life that I worked so hard to get. I no longer want the ECE career. I no longer want to climb the ECE ladder. I don't even care what title I have anymore. I no longer want to be over ratio because someone doesn't want to come in today. I no longer want to say yes to overtime, meanwhile I barely get to see my family. I no longer want to put everyone's needs before mine. I no longer want to help parents that don't really give a flying crap about what I do for their child on a day-to-day basis. I care about making myself happy. I care about working in a job that brings me peace. I care about working at a job that actually helps me pay my bills. I care about slow mornings where I actually have a set time that I work at and a set time that I'm done. I want flexibility and to be able to take that doctor's appointment when I need it. I just want to be able to live comfortably, stress-free, and not at the cost of my own well-being. So if you're an early childhood educator and you just resonated with everything that I've said, I'd love for you to follow me because I'm here to show you there's this life beyond ECE.
As a 26-year-old certified teacher who has been teaching elementary school for 5 years, if there was any advice that I could give high school students that think they want to be a teacher and pursue the career, or college students who are already in the path, if I could give them any advice or the advice that I would have wanted, don't do it. Don't do it. It's not worth your mental health. They want you to sacrifice everything and gain nothing. The input and output is not equivalent anymore. Like, oh my gosh, it's so rewarding. It's not. It's not. And if you talk to any teacher currently, they're not going to tell you that. And if they do, they're lying. And I don't know why they would lie to you. I don't know why they would ever want to put you in a position to feel exactly how they feel right now. So I'm going to tell you the truth. Don't do it. This is my 5th year, and in order to be vested in my state, I need 10. I don't give a damn. I don't care about those 10. At first, I was trying to make it there. Baby, I'm just glad I made it to 5 with my freedom, okay? Because that is what teaching is coming to. They want you to abandon self for everyone else, but they don't pour back into you. So if I could give any advice, do not do it. If you're already too deep, you're already about to graduate, stay in school. Keep going. Get a specialist. Get a master's. Get something to get you out of that classroom. You do not want to be in the classroom. You might as well go and work in like solitary confinement, okay? Please, like, I'm no funny stuff. I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I want what's best for you and your mental health. But one, public education is not going to be a thing in about 5 or 10 more years. So reevaluate and further your education if you're too deep, so that you can stay out of the classroom. And if you were considering it, use my video as the first to many warnings. Please do your research.
1,000 teachers just quit their jobs in Arizona. Yeah, I just watched this video about this lady talking about how she carpool, and usually when she carpools, the teachers come out and talk. And she said on the break, 2 teachers quit. And she's not in Arizona, but it's 1,000 teachers that quit in Arizona. So if you in Arizona, what's going on? But she said the teachers were telling her it's a lot going on. It's not the students, but it's something going on with the school board that they just don't agree with. And everything is changing. So they quit their jobs. Can somebody tell me why y'all quit y'all jobs? Y'all know something that we don't know? Y'all better start homeschooling y'all children. Everything is falling into play like that lady said. Y'all better start homeschooling y'all children. Last year was awful. This year ain't even got started good, and so much stuff has already happened. If they know something that y'all don't know or I don't know, I pray to God every teacher quit. So there won't be enough teachers to teach nobody. And you have to homeschool your children. Teach them at home. I'd rather for your children to be safe than one day you go up there and they lock the school down and say, hey, you can't even get these children for safety purposes. Your own children. I understand we have to work, we have to do what we have to do. I also understand that a lot of us don't know what the hell to do when it's time to teach our children. They have programs where the teacher is like virtual. You can have a virtual teacher. Your child can be at home, and it's a teacher on the screen teaching your child. I just really want to know, how the hell did 1,000 teachers just decide, hey, we ain't going for this, and just quit? What made them walk out, y'all? What's going on? And what is it about the school board you don't like? I know I told you at that last school, they wouldn't let them children use the bathroom because they said, oh, the bathrooms be smoked out. But they couldn't unlock the bathrooms. They said you got to go to the school board. So they can't go to the bathroom all day, and they got certain times. And if they don't use it at a certain time, they can't use it all day. But you big grown-ass people can go to the bathroom anytime you need to go to the bathroom. And I know some of you parents was like, well, I teach mine to walk out. How you going to walk out if the bathroom doors are locked? If it's been guarded by security, what you going to do? Fight them, and then guess what? You in trouble now. Yeah, what's going on in them schools? You better find you another alternative, because who's to say what's up next? Protect your babies.
People are always asking me why I finally quit teaching, so let's get into some of the reasons. I wrote them down. Number 1, teachers do not get paid enough. We all know this. As a teacher with no spouse, no kids, and with 2 degrees, honestly, I made a decent amount of money for myself. But when you factor in all the things you do as a teacher, all the time and work you put in as a teacher, the money just does not add up. I was not getting paid for working on weekends. I was not getting paid for parents calling me before school hours and after hours. I was not getting paid for all the days I had to stay late and all the days I had to come early. I was not getting paid for going home every day and literally having to mentally decompress and sit in silence because of the crazy day I had. I was just not getting paid enough for that. Number 2, I loved kids. I love kids. But honestly, I hated being a role model. I got very tired of worrying about the shit that I posted on social media, worrying about the things I did outside of work and how that affected my career as a teacher. People will really act like teachers are not supposed to have any lives outside of being a teacher. But again, They didn't pay me enough for that shit. Number 3, I started teaching in 2015. A lot has changed in education since then. They want you to be soft with kids. They want to let kids run the school. They don't want you giving any harsh consequences, and that shit didn't work for me. I have a very strict and elitist viewpoint and philosophy about school. School is not the place to fuck around. There needs to be discipline in schools, and honestly, a lot of schools have moved away from discipline. I'm all for positive reinforcement. I'm all for incentivizing students, but I'm also for making a kid right. I will not disrespect my teacher until their hand feels like they're gonna break. I'm also for locking a kid out of the classroom if he or she is distracting everyone else from learning. And a lot of schools and systems and districts don't let you do shit like that anymore. They let the kids do whatever the fuck they want without any real consequences. I couldn't get jiggy with that. Finally, probably the real reason that I finally said I'm done with this shit is just the fact that I moved to LA. Living in LA showed me that there was so much more out there for me than being in a fucking school from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. every day. My friends had cool jobs. I was getting invited to cool parties. I was rubbing elbows with celebrities. I was looking at the fucking Hollywood sign from my school, and I was just like, there's no way this job that is draining me mentally, physically, emotionally is what I'm meant to be doing. And so in the 2024 school year, I had some teaching certifications and they were expiring that year. And I could have easily just taken the test and got my certifications back, but I took that as a sign to make my exit. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna see what else is out there for me. And honestly, I've never been happier.
So I was a high school teacher for 5 years. I've mentioned that a bunch on this app, but I've never really talked about it or mentioned why I decided to leave. Because the thing is, I loved my job. I loved teaching. I loved the people I worked with. I was incredibly blessed with an absurdly supportive administration. I had been there at the same school for 5 years. I was tenured. I was an established member of the community. I felt like I had students that I had really great relationships with. But despite all that, I ultimately decided to leave because I realized I needed an easier job, to put it shortly. Just the stress was slowly starting to eat me alive. This wasn't a decision I made lightly. I thought about it for months and months before I finally pulled the trigger and told my principal that I was leaving, that I wasn't coming back the next year. And because I had thought about it for so long, I thought in the weeks and then days coming up to my last day that I would feel this immense sense of relief when I walked out of the building, just knowing that it was all over. But when I got home that day, and it dawned on me that I would never again walk back into that building as a teacher, I just started crying. As much as I knew I needed to leave, I realized I was losing a huge part of my identity. That as difficult as it was, for 5 years, teaching wasn't just like a job. It was who I was. And I couldn't make sense of the fact that I was just losing that. Losing something that actually gave my life purpose. I've resisted the urge up until now to make any sort of goodbye video because I've been having a lot of difficulty processing my feelings and just understanding why I've been this upset at all. Because it's not about the money for me. I have plenty of money saved up. I have another job. I have family. I know ultimately I'll be fine. But I think I just realized it's like, again, I feel like I'm losing a huge part of my identity. And it's not like everything that's happened on here has been easy or fun. But for better or for worse, for the last 2 years, this has been a lot more than just a job to me. It's been who I am. And it's been really difficult thinking about losing that. Now, I know it's not like over. There are other platforms. I just finished making a longer YouTube video. So I know there are next things I can do. But you guys gave me my life back. Back when I thought I had nothing. And, yeah, whenever something dies, something else grows in its place, but whatever else grows, it won't be this. If TikTok really does disappear on Sunday, this will probably be my last video here. I don't know if I have it in me to talk about anything else, really. So I know for a lot of you, this might be the last time you ever see me. And if that's the case, I just want you to know that I've had the time of my life with you. So thank you.
I'm a former teacher and now parent, and I can see a splitting that's happening in society, and it has nothing to do with politics. I did another video regarding this, having to do with a splitting regarding technology and moderation versus not. This is something entirely different, but connected. The splitting is parents who teach their kids versus those that don't. Why are teachers leaving in droves? And many of them are homeschooling their kids. If you were just leaving, it's one thing, but leaving and pulling your kids is a whole nother part. Generally speaking, here's what I saw. First of all, it is not cool to learn at all. It's not cool to be respectful to teachers or people in general. Being a victim is viewed as a good thing. And from a general sense, we have dumbed down schools. We're eliminating gifted classes, and just the class structure itself has changed. So what an honor student looks like today is not what it looked like 20 years ago. And the bottom, which used to be a baseline of had some semblance of knowledge and intellect, is now unable to read, unable to write, unable to think. And the school systems are passing these kids along regardless of that. Now, what teachers see is the dumbing down of society, the bringing everyone down. And so you might be the parent who's saying like, but I teach my kid, so they're going to be okay. Are they? Because if the school is now moving everything downward towards the bottom and having to deal with these bottom, is your kid being challenged, being pushed? Because what I've seen is that it now no longer is good to push through hard. If a kid complains and they're like, no, this is too hard, we are very quick to be like, all right, well, here's a way of making it easier. That's not how we grow. And it should be teachers who know this. But it doesn't help that they're not getting the support to push the upper level kids up higher. And because they're so busy with dealing with the bottom that they can't deal with the top. So then there's this split, and the top ones are not being challenged or pushed as much as they should be. And the bottoms are the ones being catered to, but it's so hard to move them anywhere with absolutely zero support from home. And that's what it all comes down to. The parents that spend time at home teaching their kid, pushing their kid, challenging their kid so that they excel and keep moving upward and learning how to deal with failure are going to do so much more in life just in general than the ones who are continued to be like, it's okay. It's okay to be offended. It's okay that you can't read. It's okay that you can't do that. We're just going to push you along. We're just going to push you along. It's fine. And along with this, it's a total lack of emotional intelligence, which is why a kid tries something, fails, and then it's, I'm stupid. I'm dumb. I'll never know this. Fixed mindset, closed mindset, and not having the mental capacity to understand that it's okay to fail, it's okay to make mistakes, and challenging things make you grow. That's why the thing is, whether the teacher leaves or doesn't leave, their kids are going to have a leg up because teachers realize that this is what's happening in schools and know that they have to challenge their kid more at home because it's not really going to be happening at school. And we're honestly seeing the beginning stages of the movie Idiocracy, where people get into society. They're kids that are going to become adults where they can't read, they can't write, and they're so easily manipulated because they're always just flowing with the cool thing. And they're like, tell me what to do. Tell me what to do. Okay, I guess everyone else is doing this, so I'll just do it. There's absolutely no critical thinking. And that's how you end up with, wait, Gatorade is better because it has electrolytes. Come on, bruh. You should know that. And the thing is, that's moving towards the majority. So yeah, what are the things that are splitting us? It's the use of technology, it's the use of AI, and it is just plain and simple parents. And yes, the kids who only have one parent or divorced parents definitely are going to have an even tougher time with this, because that's a really hard thing to overcome given the school systems. So we are moving towards the haves and have-nots, but it's you have good parents or you don't. And because all this is going on, being a good parent is actually becoming easier, not harder. But that is if that parent has emotional intelligence and knows what's going on with schools to be able to realize that they're going to be the ones that have to challenge their kids. And that's just my thoughts of the day. As always, be kind. You never know what someone else is going through.
Do you honestly believe that these teachers are quitting their job 2 weeks into the school year because they're not getting paid enough, or because the politics that they're dealing with from outside of the classroom is too much to handle? No, that's not the reason. The reason why they're quitting is because these kids are mean, and they're making the classroom a war zone, and they're getting zero support from parents at home and from admin on their campus. This 100% stems from the stuff that they have to deal with day in and day out from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. inside their classroom. It's the stuff that you have to deal with inside your classroom that makes you burn out and makes you never want to come back. I understand that so many of our kids are dealing with rough lives at home and are dealing with trauma, dealing with mental illness, dealing with learning disabilities. All of those things make it difficult to thrive in school, and I understand that. But the problem is that all of those things are no reason to treat other human beings like a piece of garbage. Regardless of your opinion of teachers, most teachers that I know wake up every single day excited to teach whatever lesson that they've spent hours planning and creating. And they want to have a meaningful experience with the students in their classroom. They want to have a good day. And I know, speaking for myself, I woke up every day praying that it was going to be a good day, praying that the kids that I had that day were going to be as excited about the content that I was ready to present as much as I was. And most days, that is not what I got met with. On the daily, teachers are getting cussed out, spit on, hit, flipped off. Their equipment is getting broken and stolen. There are bullies in class that are relentless, not just to their own fellow students, but to the adult in the room. Imagine if you had to deal with that at your job. I'm speaking to non-teachers right now, right? You would not put up with that. You would stay somewhere where you were treated with respect and you knew that you were safe in your work environment. If someone came every single day to your job, bullied you, hit you, cussed you out, rolled their eyes at you, treated you like you were nothing, like you were garbage, you wouldn't want to come back either. You would put in your 2 weeks notice. But for some reason, so many people believe that we signed up for that, because that's a part of teaching, and that's just how kids are. I made the decision not to return to the classroom this year, and I haven't been in a classroom for months now, and I still have nightmares, trauma nightmares on a weekly basis about my former classroom and my former students. And yes, it is a parent and an admin problem just as much as it is a kid problem, because the difference between now and 20 years ago even is that 20 years ago, when you would have a kid cuss you out, hit you, smack other kids, ruin your property, steal things off of your desk, there was going to be somebody on campus that was going to back you up and find a solution. But now that's not the case. Suspensions are down because they want those numbers down. They want to look good. They're not suspending kids for getting in fights and being violent in the classroom anymore. It's just not happening. Even in the early 2000s and 2010s, when I started my career, I was assured that if I called a parent
to tell them about what was going on in my classroom with their child, they were most definitely going to say, I am so sorry, do what you need to do, I'll talk to them when they get home, right? That doesn't happen anymore either. It is a parent problem because we're getting met with the same attitudes that we see in the classroom that we're seeing at home from parents. Your doctor or nurse, somebody comes up to your nurse's station and starts yelling and screaming, throwing things, cussing you out, calling you names. What do? You get to call security and call a code violet. As teachers, we can't do that anymore. We try, but then the kid gets sent out of the class, they are given a snack, and then 5 minutes later, they're back in the classroom ready to terrorize somebody else. There's always going to be only one adult in the room and 30 kids. And as soon as we put our attention on the one kid who's causing the disturbance and the violence in the class, then everyone is going to turn to us and say, well, why aren't you looking after the other kids? Why aren't you doing your job in teaching these kids? What happens when somebody else starts doing something they're not supposed to do? It's a lose-lose situation. So who wants to deal with that at work? Of course, these young teachers who are just now stepping into the profession are done with it after 2 or 3 weeks. They realize that they don't have to deal with that behavior. They don't have to deal with that disrespect. And there's another way that they can make their money. Let me just speak about Houston ISD for a second, because that's where I came from and that's what I advocate for, because I still care very deeply about that school district. Teachers at Houston ISD are not quitting their jobs right now because of the crap they're having to deal with from their superintendent and the fact that libraries are being stripped away from campuses that desperately need them. Again, I would say that most of the teachers that are dealing with those issues are strongly urged from within to stay in those positions, to advocate for change in that situation. Those are not the reasons that they're quitting. It's the kids and the behavior that they are dealing with, because they are not scared of consequences anymore. In fact, if something happens in the classroom, a group of kids is more likely to pull out their phone and start recording it and laughing instead of helping the situation. I know the last thing most people want to hear is a teacher saying that kids are the problem, but what else are we supposed to do? How else are we supposed to tackle this situation? Behavior issues are at an all-time high right now, and nobody wants to admit it, because then that's saying that, oh, those poor little darlings, you know, they're suffering out there in a world that's chaos. What are they supposed to do? You know, you're supposed to love them through it. We are asked to deal with so much abuse on a daily basis, and because they are children, somehow it's okay. And for those of you that don't have to deal with the behaviors that I'm talking about, you are lucky, because that means that you have admin on your campus that not only support you, but also have systems in place to tackle this sort of stuff.
They are testing our kids to death. They are stomping on their creativity. School districts are trying to run like companies with the numbers, and it's not the science of education. When I went to school, we actually, like, okay, this is the standard, this is the thing that a 4th grader needs to know. Sorry. This is the thing a 4th grader needs to know. We gathered the resources, we found it, we made lesson plans, we were like creative, we came up with fun and engaging things for our kids to do. We studied teaching today is not teaching. They want a script, they want a robot, they want their numbers. The word differentiation. So when I went to school, it's like that was the most important thing. Like, you get your student what they need, right? If the child has behavior issues, you figure it out and you get them what they need. If they have reading issues, you adapt their lessons, you get them extra help, you meet their needs. So our district now is going to Tier 1. So we cannot differentiate. We cannot give the child what they need. I teach 4th grade. I have 2 kids at a kindergarten reading level. I have about 4 kids at a 1st grade reading level. And they're telling me that I have to teach this 4th grade curriculum that these kids can't even read. You know, like back in the day, it's like, you know, teachers like, okay, turn to page 47 and read this and answer the questions. They can't read the material. But I am not allowed to give them material that is at their level. So they sit there. Also, our wonderful curriculum we have, maybe I'll go into that on a different post if this is, I know my content is all over the place. There's no reading groups. So we just do our whole group lesson, and they do these things that they can't do. So I give these assignments, and I'm like, hey, use this text compared to this text, and use this figurative language. They're not able to do it. So what happens is when it's not at the right level, you get behaviors. You get like them feeling horrible about themselves. You get them feeling like they're not smart. You get them feeling like they're isolated and that they are alone because you're asking them to do this thing that they can't do. There's so, like, my mind is just, I guess the point of this is I used to love teaching. I used to love teaching. I used to be excited to get here every day, and now I'm sitting in my car crying before work. I work at a really high needs school, and these kids are coming with a lot of stuff, and so I'm meeting their needs. But I'm not enough. I'm not doing this right, I'm not doing that right, I didn't get this test done. What if I handed you a 7-page test on anatomy and physiology at a doctorate level? And I'm like, do your best. You can do it. Here, just try. And you literally don't know anything on it? That's what we do as a pretest. We have to give them this long-ass pretest, and they're sitting there feeling like crap. And it wastes hours of their life. My kids, I have maybe 6 kids that are on grade level that can do the work. That I'm like, hey, let's do this homework. 6 out of 24. I'm not supported. I asked for resources. My 2 kids that can't read, I've been told I can't use anything that's not district approved. So I send emails. I make meetings for them to come and tell me what to teach them, because they won't let me decide, because they don't trust me, because we are not valued anymore as educators. I got an email telling me that I was 10 minutes late twice in the last 3 weeks. All of those nights before, I was the last car here. And I took work home and was grading it at 10 p.m. But I'm going to get in trouble for being 10 minutes late. I'm not valued. This job is sucking. Like, my passion, and I just cannot do it anymore. I don't know why I can't let go of it, because yesterday I had a student come see me. He's 22, and he said, "You by far, I've thought about you. You inspired me. You helped turn my attitude and my life around." And so many of those kids. Like, I know God is pushing me towards something different. I know that's what it is. And I need to just accept it. And it's scary because this is all I've known, and this has been through my bad relationships and hard struggles. Like, this has been the only constant in my life. So it's really scary. Anyways, I'm running out. Thanks for listening to my TED Talk. There might be an update from a sad teacher.
Okay, so that is it for the videos. And people, look, it's going to get worse. I remember years ago when they said that a lot of teachers in America, our country, were leaving to go to different countries because the pay was just so horrendous here, and they were paying them such good money over in the UAE and in Asian countries. And they said, I can't do it. I love teaching. It's something I was passionate about, but I can't survive. They have to be able to survive. I always felt like they should have a pay increase, but even if they get a pay increase, they shouldn't have to be in classrooms with students that can put hands on them, say all types of stuff to them, and the frustration of the parents not giving a damn and getting mad at you if they can't read and you're trying to help them, but the parents also don't help them at the house. The parents have to also help their kids at the house, and it's a lot of other things of politics and all this stuff that goes into it. And I just saw this recently. This is new. It says that a survey reveals that 50% of California teachers may quit after teaching. Look, if any of you are teachers that are watching this video that follow me, tell everybody in the comment section why you quit teaching, or why you're thinking about quitting teaching. They had this graph online, just some statistics that said that teacher burnout, the rate from 2024 to 2025, and they looked at it by gender and race, and the highest are women at 63%. Next are who are Black at 59%, 58% Hispanic, and 54% white, and 48% male teachers, and all teachers across the board. It came at 53%. We've never seen anything like this, honestly, and we already know what's going to happen. You already know. You already know. And they always say the children are the future. What do you think is going to happen when they can't read? They can't read an analog clock. They can't write out prescriptions. They don't understand anything. And this is supposed to be the leaders of America who were failed. You can't just look at them and say, oh, you're a failure, you're a failure. No, what happened to society to get them to that point? Because every generation is responsible for the next generation. So, I don't know what's going to happen, but it's not looking good. And you have to have a lot of patience to be a teacher, because you're dealing with other people's children and yelling and screaming, like that lady said, getting bit by a student or breaking bones and everything. And it takes a lot of patience. They have. I take my hat off to them. So again, 300,000 teachers quit last year, and baby, it's going to grow, just like what's going on in the nursing field. It is not looking good. This is just part one. I will have an update again with a part two, maybe a part 3 or 4 of what more teachers are saying. Let me know in the comments section, what do you think? Please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell. Click all notifications to let me know, what do you think about all this, and why do you think this is happening?